Pastor Andy defined guardrails as crash barriers that prevent cars from straying into dangerous terrain. That's the reason why he said that guardrails are placed not on the danger zone, but on the safe zone. Even before you meet the danger, that is where the guardrails are strategically positioned. And we also learned that guardrails are seen on highways, roadways, pedestrian lanes, and he told us that, hey, it's not only there that guardrails are needed. Guardrails are needed even in our personal lives. Personal guardrails can keep you from straying into dangers that would damage key areas of your life. Your marriage, your friendships, your finances, and even your career. A lot of the problems that has been faced by us is simply because guardrails were not instituted before those events happened. Thus, we have hurt not only ourselves, but also our loved ones. Personal guardrails are very important. These are moral codes of conduct that we institute to ourselves so that we will be able to live successful, happy, and triumphant lives, which is the very design of God for us. He does not like us to fail. He does not like us to get hurt. That's why he endeavors for us not only to look at guardrails, but to institute and put guardrails onto our very selves. So, we are on the fourth topic of the whole lesson, and that is on money matters. And I'm sure, unlike the last time that I was here, medyo mas relate sa ating mga couples and those who are planning to get married already. Today, this is going to be relevant for everybody. Do you know that money is one of the most talked about things or topic in any area of our lives? Whether that be at home, in your in the barber shop, in your barkada, and the talk about money usually is about either you need it, you want it, but most often than not, you don't have it. So it is those topics that revolve around your discussion on money. But all of us, one time or another, talks about money. It is in movies, it's in books, it's in your teleseries, your Korean novelas, and even in songs. That's how old it is. Barrett Strong, I don't know if you even know him. Barrett Strong wrote this song, Money, That's All I Want. And it did not hit like very, very big until the Beatles sang it. The Rolling Stones sang it also. It's a major rock, so hindi ko siya alam kantahin. The best things in life are free. That's his premise. Money, don't get everything, it's true. You don't get it, but he says, money, it's all I want. And I think that's relevant for all of us. Yes, money is something that we all want. The song from ABBA, money, 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 must be funny in the rich man's world. Yan po yun. Money, money, money is funny and sunny in the rich man's world. Best Billboard hit also. I edited some of the lyrics to make it more benign and safe. Bruno Mars and Travis McCoy wrote this song saying that they want to be billionaires. At the time of writing, Travis McCoy was worth $9 million. And Bruno Mars was reaching almost $100 million. Not yet a billionaire, but he was wishing, they were both wishing, to be billionaires. Being on Oprah, being on neon lights, smiling with the Queen, visiting the Queen, that he wants to be a billionaire. How many of you are currently wishing to be millionaires? Seriously, no one? Me. Who's that? Yes. Right? You know, the richest, wisest man ever to have lived has also desired that. And I am sure all of us are not working so hard for nothing. We want to get paid, and we want to get paid right. But all of us, we know, we will be able to all attest to the fact that no one gets paid right. That the more you get paid, the more is expected of you, and even more than what you are receiving. Let's talk about King Solomon. Do you remember him? He's the wisest, richest king ever to have lived. At the time of his reign, when he was about to take on the throne, he was already king at that time. Early on in his reign, God appeared to him and asked him, Solomon, what do you want? Ask, and I will give it to you. Huh? When your God comes and asks you what you want, what are you going to ask for? Being new in his reign, everybody, the first thing that I am sure all of us will ask for is money. Lord, give me money so I can pay all my debts. I can buy a car. I can buy a house. Rental in Singapore is getting higher and higher. I want to be able to buy a house or increase my salary, right? That's a very normal thing for us to desire and ask for. But Solomon did not. What did he ask for? He asked for wisdom and knowledge. Why? He said, so that I can lead your people properly. Because he already knew how hard-headed and difficult the people of Israel were. He knew that. He understood that my reign will be dependent on how wise and knowledgeable I am in being able to lead them. And what did God say? God promised, ask for anything and I will give it to you, right? So, God told him, because your greatest desire is to help your people. You didn't ask for wealth, riches, fame, or even death of your enemies. Because at that time, people were looking into Israel to be able to conquer them. So the very least that Solomon should have asked was, kill all of my enemies. Make my life easier. Kill all of my enemies. But since you did not ask that, but rather you asked for wisdom and knowledge to properly govern my people, he said, I will certainly give you wisdom and knowledge. And we know that he was the wisest king ever to have lived. Up until today, he is still the wisest because that's what God told him. But apart from that, apart from giving him wisdom and knowledge, what did God give him? I will also give you wealth, riches, and fame. No such other king before you or after you will have in the future. Top 3 richest men in the world today, as of October 2022. I researched this book. Bernard Arnault of Louis Vuitton, Marc Jacobs, and Sephora. Net worth, $141 billion. Jeff Bezos, Amazon. Net worth, $144 billion. Who do you think is number 1? Elon Musk, Tesla, space exploration. Net worth, $228 billion. How much do you think Solomon would have been worth if he was alive today? Investment today projected his net worth to be $2 trillion US dollars. Solomon was receiving about $1 million worth of gold every month. That was his salary. His throne was made of gold. His utensils, his cups, his plates were made of gold. He did not have any silver pieces in his cupboard, in his throne room, in his palace, because he thought it was cheap. $2 trillion. And up until today, God's word has been true. there is no one who will amass wealth before you or after you, because you have asked for wisdom and knowledge. So today, with our quest for wealth and money, who else is the best resource speaker, the best resource person than the king himself? King Solomon would speak to us about money, 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 about wealth, 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 and the pursuit of which. Ecclesiastes is a book associated with him, but he never mentioned his name. He just refers to himself as a teacher, or in other versions, he is the preacher. So today we will try to understand, is the pursuit for money, is the quest for money right or wrong? Or how should we act in these times when there is such a need for money? Do not get me wrong. I'm not telling you not to look or work for money. Not to work. Not to work to be paid or to earn money, right? I'm not going to tell you that. What we are going to understand today is what is the right attitude, or what is the guardrail that we need to put up in order for us to have an enjoyable, fruitful, successful life about money. The pursuit of money is a conversation that we will run through in Ecclesiastes chapter 5, where Solomon, in the whole book of Ecclesiastes, Solomon already introduced one key meaning, one key premise, hypothesis, and this is it. Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 2 says, meaningless, meaningless, says the teacher, utterly meaningless. Everything is meaningless. Is Solomon saying that everything in the world is of no value? The book of Ecclesiastes will tell us that life under the sun, you will repeatedly hear that, life under the sun, life under the sun. What does that mean? It's the everyday life that we live. Day to day, what is the concept of work? What is the concept of money? What is the concept of life? What is the concept of family? This is what you will be able to read and understand in the book of Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes will tell us that as far as Solomon is concerned, everything is meaningless. Some translation would say vanities, vanities, vanities. Everything is just vanity. Everything is lang, parang, ano lang, want mo lang, gusto mo lang, parang it's of no value. It's not important. Nothing is important. But Solomon is not saying that anything in the world is of no value. He is not saying that. What he is saying at the conclusion of the book, as you read through it at every portion of a chapter, he will tell you, why is it meaningless? It's meaningless because of this. It's meaningless because of that. But at the end of every topic that he tells you, he will conclude with this, that without God, there is no real lasting meaning and satisfaction you can get in the world today. You can run your business, you can run your world, you can run your life, you can run your family the way you want to. Yes, you can. But to see lasting meaning and be satisfied with it, he's saying it's all meaningless. Like a vapor in the wind. Without God, everything is just almost nothing. And at the end of this conversation, it is my hope that all of us will be able to grasp this very important principle. It is a principle that we can live by and we should live by. And I hope that at the end of this conversation, all of us will be able to have put up this and serve as a guardrail for the way we conduct ourselves as far as money is concerned. And it is this, that money is God's gift, not a God to be worshipped. Yes, money, even money is God's gift. And we all know that every gift that comes from above is good. Then how come it seems like money is such a big deal that makes us go the different direction as compared to what God has designed for us to be. Although money is God's gift, it turns to be a God, small g, that we worship. It puts us astray from God's purpose. How many of you can draw a nail through a piece of wood? We can, right? Do we use a saw to drive the nail through? Do we use our shoes to drive our nail through? We don't, right? Because that's not the purpose by which it was made for. You use a hammer. You don't use a screwdriver, although ginagawa natin yun the other end. We do use that. But that's not the purpose by which these tools were made. If you want to properly push the nail through a piece of wood, you will use a hammer. And that is what this principle is saying. Money is God's gift. It is meant to be a gift. How it can be beneficial or detrimental is up to us. Money is inanimate. It doesn't have any feeling. It's just there. You put $100 there, it does not feel anything. It will not do anything. Sabihin nga natin, bakit ka ba nang aano? Diba? Why are you tempting me to do something? It's not tempting you. It is the attitude towards money that becomes a problem. It is when it becomes the God that you worship, then it becomes a problem. Because do you know that ever since Adam and Eve's time, God's purpose for man is to worship Him, not to worship anything else. So if there's anything else that is drawing you to worship apart from worshiping God, what do you call that? It becomes an idol. Because it is replacing your purpose to worship God with something else. And that is the very thing that Solomon is going to draw for us today. That money is God's gift. And we know that any gift from God is good. But when it becomes the God that you worship, then it is becoming something else than what it was purposed to be. Even the Apostle Paul told his ward Timothy, in 1 Timothy, for the love of money is the root of all evil. What is the root of all evil? The love of money. It is not money itself. It is the love of money that is the root of all evil. We cannot say that yung pera kasi, it drew me to make wrong decisions, wrong things to be done in my life. No. It is your constant pursuit. It is your attitude towards it. It is the love for money that is the root of all evil. So join me in Ecclesiastes chapter 5 and let's listen to Solomon on how he will be able to introduce to us that that money is a gift and not a God to be worshipped. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, and let's start with verse 10. Those who love money will never have enough. Those who love money will never have enough. And yet, the constant pursuit for money is always there for us. The Filipino diaspora in the 1980s happened for the sole purpose of earning more for the families. Is that wrong? No, that's not wrong at all. But in that constant pursuit, konti na lang, ipon pa, konti na lang, ipon pa, konti na lang. Broken families have happened. Adulterous relationships have happened. And children of OFWs have not been able to establish relationships with their families. We constantly advise our brethren, do not put your target in dollar figures because that will always change. It will be a moving target. Uwi po ako pag naka-1 million na ako. By the time that you reach that 1 million, it's not going to be 1 million anymore. 1 million pa po. 1 million pa po. And down the road, as fast as this era has happened, you will then realize that you've been away from your family for what? 10, 20, 30 years? But thankfully, with the World Wide Web today, communication has become easy. And do not miss out on that. I've shared this before already when Pastor Joey was here and we were in the Philippines. We'd spend thousands of pesos paying PLDT and him here, StarHub or phone cards. It would be a stack up just to be able to communicate with your family. Those who've been here since the 90s, you'll know that. With the advent of the World Wide Web, Instagram, Facebook, Telegram, Viber, and all of these means of communication, you cannot and should not miss out anymore. But constantly we should review ourselves because Solomon says, those who love money will never be enough. You know, the psychology of the pursuit of money is that the more you have, the more you will want. I want more because I have more. John D. Rockefeller was interviewed and said, how much more wealth do you need to have? And he goes, just a little bit more. But his a little bit more may not be our a little bit more. Because at that time, he was holding 1% of the whole U.S. economy. That was how rich he was. How meaningless to think that wealth can bring true happiness. Solomon is telling us, you love money, you'll never be enough. It will never be enough. You will never be satisfied. If you think wealth will bring you true happiness, it will never reach you there. There was a research that was conducted, and it was mentioned that the amount of money that you have is not equitable to the amount of happiness that you get after reaching the basic necessities that you have in life. When you've paid your bills, you have groceries in place already, you have already put in your savings and put in your tithes, anything super in excess of that will not be equitable to the happiness that you get. Meaning, if I have $1 million and I only need $100,000, that means if I have the 100,000, my happiness is 100,000%. Let's say 100%. Anything of the 900,000 will not give me 900% more happiness. It is not equitable. P.T. Barnum, master showman, had this to say, money is a terrible master, but an excellent servant. You determine where you bring your money and how to use it. But for you to constantly pursue money, to be able to be happy, to be able to be satisfied, to be able to enjoy life, it is not equitable. And even Solomon said that in his time, and even researchers today have found that to be true. He says, how meaningless for you to think that wealth will bring you true happiness. It will never amount to that. You know what the Hebrew word for meaningless is? Is hevel, and it's the same word used for vapor or steam. So it's like, if I already got that, where is it? Oh, there, I got it already. No, it's no longer there. That's how meaningless wealth is when you are equating it to your need to be happy. It is like a vapor in the wind. That's why Solomon would constantly say, it's like a vapor in the wind that you are trying to catch and you're not able to even catch it. And what do? You desire for more. You pursue for more. And you try to get more. And you know why he's saying that? It's because of this. He said, the more you have, the more wealth you have, the more people come to help you spend it. So, what good is wealth except for you to watch it slip through your fingers? I'm not telling you not to help. Don't get me wrong. But point of warning, let us not help to the point of causing them to be sloths or to be lazy, or for them to look at you as ang ina or ama ng laging saklolo. Solomon says, so what good is wealth except perhaps to watch it slip through your hands? When you came to Singapore, you were earning $1,800. Say, $1,500, $1,008. Now, years down the road, you're earning $3,500, $5,000. Dati, pwede naman mag-MRT, pwedeng mag-bus. Now, we need to buy our additional 30 minutes of sleep. May Grab naman. Grab Hitch, half the price. Diba? May discount ako sa Gojek. May promo. Oftentimes, now that I'm earning Singapore dollars, I change my lifestyle. I spend Singapore dollars too. And then you're wondering why? When I had $1,800, I had $500 savings. Now that I have $5,000, I don't have even $100 savings. Why? We change our lifestyle. We change our lifestyle to match how much we're getting. And then we pursue wealth again. Kulang. I have to work harder. I have to work harder. I have to work harder. One more thing that Solomon reminds us. People who work hard sleep well. Whether they eat little or much. But you know what the rich do? They seldom get sleep. Solomon seems to be envying the ordinary laborer, the employee 8 to 5, 9 to 6 people who are there. You go to work at 9 and then at 6 o'clock you come home already finished. And at the end of that, you have dinner. Kahit the ordinary workmen, the laborers in the field, even before their backs hit the bed, they're already snoring. And Solomon is envying them. They can sleep well. At the end of the day, they're peaceful. There's nothing to worry about. But the rich, he said, the rich like me, Solomon's mind was maybe running and saying, I hardly get any sleep. You read in the news of that CEO, physically fit, very strong, suddenly collapsed in the gym dead. When they studied what it was that was the matter, he only had at the most 2 to 3 hours of sleep a day. Euro Millions winner, that's a lottery in the UK, thought that winning would change her life and make life easier. But after winning it, she attests that says, at age 16, she was 16 years old, she attested that she would cry herself to sleep. Sleep is a commodity that no one can buy. Even if you buy the most expensive mattress, the mattress that is slipopedic, the pillows that are curved so that you can sleep well, silk bed covers, you can never buy sleep and peace. When you have more money, you need to hire a PA, you need to hire financial advisors, you need bankers, you need a driver, you need a bodyguard to be able to protect you. Then, that's one thing. But there's one thing, you cannot buy sleep. So, Solomon was envying all those people who were sleeping. Going back to John D. Rockefeller, do you know that towards the end of his life, not really the end, at age 53, you know what he was eating? I think some of you should have been able to watch that movie with Leo DiCaprio. He was just feasting on crackers and water. The richest man in then the United States. He could afford steak, caviar, champagne, buffet feasts every day, but he was eating crackers and water. Why? Because he was just so stressed. He wasn't coming out of his room because he was so scared that people was up trying to get him. Is that the life to live? You have $1 million, $1 billion in the bank. You are in control of 1% of the U.S. economy, and here you are not able to sleep and eating and feasting on crackers and water. And then Solomon turns. As he was telling a story about, as he was telling all of those proverbial sayings, then he turns, and this time, there's a person that comes to his mind. He remembers someone, a rich fellow, and he has observed him. I don't know if he was talking about himself or just someone. And now he tells a story. What happens to those people who are very rich? This is what he says happened. There is another serious problem, he says. Hindi pa serious yung nauna, ha? Meron pang mas serious. There is another serious problem, he goes. And I have seen under the sun. That means I have seen it. I have observed it. Hoarding riches harms the saver. Do you know that TV show Hoarders? Have you seen it? It's a psychological condition, they said, related to OCD. They keep on hoarding and hoarding things, keeping and keeping things. And at the end of the day, their house becomes such a mess. They can't even find people inside anymore because it's sheer mess. And that's what happens when people have so much money, when you have so much wealth. What you need to do is to purchase. In the world of in the world of consumerism, it is that you purchase something because you have money. And every time you purchase, a lot of times these are purchases that you don't really need. And what happens? You just keep them and keep them and keep them. You purchase so much things that you don't even need, that you just end up hoarding them. A lot of times our cupboards are so full. And when one of our children examines them and checks them, goes into the trash, expired, expired, expired. Can you imagine how long those have been in the cupboard? Solomon was saying this rich man was buying and buying things and just hoarding and hoarding them. Blessed is he whose cupboard is empty. Why? Because that means you're using it, you're eating it, and there's a good purpose by which you have purchased those things. And then he goes, money is put into risky investments. When you are rich, when you have so much wealth, you go for those that are more risky because they have more return. Because as I've mentioned, the pursuit of money desires you to have more and more. So you go and invest them into high-risk instruments. Oh no, Sister Barry, don't worry. My investment is all so widespread. Okay, I have fixed deposit, I have unit trust, I have mutual funds, I have insurances, I have properties. So my portfolio is widespread. But what did Solomon say? What happened? Just one that turned sour. Everything is lost. You're thinking that you're putting your security here because for my children, so that in the future my children will have nothing, will have something. Just one thing that turned sour, and all is gone. 2020, 2021, an itty-bitty virus hit the world and stock markets came crashing down. Just one that turned sour. You're putting your security into your money. You're not going to find that there. Okay, let's say, granting, your portfolio is wide. Some of them were not affected. I will be able to bounce back. But there's one equalizer. Solomon says, we all come to the end of our lives. And as Job said, naked I came in, and naked I will go out. At the end of our lives, we will all come as naked and as empty-handed as on the day we were born. We can't take our riches with us. All the riches that you have. Sad to say, we've heard and read of news articles of families fighting over the wealth of their parents. Right? The result is not even good. Instead of you earning all of those wealth because you want them to be secured, what happens? They are all in a fight. There is no family to speak of anymore. Steve Jobs, he got sick, right? when he was sick, already getting sicker and sicker, at this moment, living on the bed, sick and remembering all my life, I realized that all my recognition and wealth, all the recognition and wealth I have is, what did it say? Meaningless. One of the richest men in the world realized that at his deathbed, his wealth, his fame, his fortune is meaningless. When my mom was diagnosed with cancer, when she knew that it was already almost the end, she goes, "Anak, no amount of money can buy even an additional minute to your life. Wealth, fame, and fortune is meaningless at the day of death." And he goes, and this too is a very serious problem, because people leave this world no better off than when they came. All their hard work is for nothing, like working in the wind. The pursuit of money is meaningless. Throughout their lives, they live under a cloud. They become frustrated. They are discouraged. They are angry. They are sad. Why? Because there is this constant pressure to just keep on pursuing and earning money. You become like Ebenezer Scrooge, who did not have any friends. He hated life. He was living alone, eating alone. Who would like that? Solomon, at the end of his life, could really see and understand that at the end of all this, I'm not going to bring with me all the gold bars that I am counting so that I will get some sleep. All the taxes that are being paid to me, I will not be able to get that. Death is an equalizer of things. During the pandemic, there was no rich and poor. Everybody who got COVID, everybody who got sick, were dealt with the same way. My aunt, who was a doctor, who was supposed to be taking care of people, died of COVID. Where? Just about the time that she was about to enter the emergency room. Death is an equalizer of things. No matter how much you have, no matter how many zeros there are at the end of your one in your bank account, you will not be able to take that with you at the time of death. If your pursuit of money, Solomon is saying, is that so you will be happy? If you are pursuing money because you think it fulfills you, you want to pursue money because it will secure you, your future, and your children's future? No, mga kapatid, only God can do that. Money is not a replacement for happiness, fulfillment, and security. It will never happen, because only God can make you happy. When He said in John, "I have told you this, that my joy may be in you and your joy may be complete." Only God can fulfill you when He said, "I have come that you may have life and have it abundantly." And only God can secure you. Mga kapatid, let us read Romans together. And I am convinced. Can we read it together?
And I am convinced that nothing can ever separate us from God's love. Neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither our fears for today nor worries about tomorrow. Not even the powers of hell can separate us from God's love. No power in the sky above or in the earth below. Indeed, nothing in all creation will ever be able to separate us from the love of God that is revealed in Christ Jesus our Lord.
Security? If there is anything more secure than that, there is nothing that can separate us from the love of God. Nothing, absolutely nothing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you that money is wrong. It is the pursuit of money that needs to be put up, that needs guardrails to be put up around it. Because money is God's gift, not a God to be worshipped. Because Solomon concludes with this, "Even so, I have noticed one thing, at least that is good. At least finally, he found something good. It is good for people to eat, drink, and enjoy their work under the sun. During the short life God has given them to accept their lot in life. Look at what he's saying. All through this time, all through the past 17 verses, there was no mention of God. But remember what Ecclesiastes is all about? Ecclesiastes is saying that without God, all of this pursuit, all of these things under the sun is meaningless. It's like a vapor in the wind. But here, he now introduces, what is that one thing that will give you true, real, lasting joy and satisfaction? Who is that? He said, God. I have noticed one thing that is good. Yes, you work, you can eat. You deserve that. You work, you have money, enjoy your work under the sun. But where is that under? That is under the premise that God is there with you. That God has given them. That they are God's gift to be used for your benefit, not for your detriment. You do not have to hoard super much. You don't have to save super much. There was an interview that was conducted with the top 10 million millionaires in the world. And they said, how much more money do you need? How much more wealth do you want to amass? And most of them said anywhere between the figure of 5 to 10 million. If you have $10 million, can you not live with that comfortably already? No. Yes, you can. But for them, no. They still need to pursue and find and gain more money. And it is a good thing to receive wealth. Money is God's gift. Solomon says it's a good thing to receive wealth from God and you know what else is good? The health by which you enjoy it is also God's gift. Yes, you may have $1 million, but you're there debilitated in bed. Is that worth it? Solomon is saying it's not only wealth that is a gift from God, but the life that you have, the good health that you have to be able to enjoy it, to enjoy your work and accept the lot of life. And this is something that I love. When he said, God keeps such people so busy enjoying life that they take no time to brood over their past. God will fulfill your greatest longing. God will give you the things that you need. God will not fail to provide for you. Money is not wrong because money in itself is a gift. What is Solomon saying here? Satisfaction is a gift from him. Contentment is a gift from him. Even the Apostle Paul said, I have learned to be content. Whether I have plenty or nothing, I have learned to be content. Jeremy Burroughs, let me close with this. Jeremy Burroughs of the Rare Jewel of Christian Contentment had this to say, contentment is not addition, but subtraction. Seeking to add a thing will not bring contentment. Instead, subtracting from your desires until you are satisfied only with Christ. That brings contentment. I hope we've been able to learn a lesson or two today. Money is God's gift, but it is not a God to be worshipped. So what do? Worship the Creator, not the created. When something or someone poses to be that thing that you need to worship, because it is in our DNA, God designed us to worship. And if that worship is accorded to something else or someone else apart from God, then that is not God's design for us. Mga kapatid, money is not wrong, but it's the love of money that we need to be guarded against. Because money, it's God's gift, not a God to be worshipped.